All right, so that's for loops. For loops, remember, are for enumerating things or going through a list of things or a collection of things and doing something with each one of those things. For loops are also a really great, easy way to do something a set number of times. But if you have a loop where you're saying, I want this to do it forever, or I want it to do this until something is true, that's always going to be a while loop. So A5 is sort of a mini, like a review project. It's a let's really think about everything we've learned so far in the class, including loops, and put that into practice. What we're going to be doing here is creating an ATM machine simulator. Now, hopefully, if you have not used an ATM machine, you at least are vaguely familiar with how they function. So you walk up, you put your card in, you do all that stuff. We're not going to put in your PIN number and all that stuff. Basically, what I'm looking for is that you can interact with this machine in the same way you'd interact with an ATM, which is you would say, what do you want to do? Do you want to deposit money into your bank or do you want to take money out? And once you choose that, it's going to say, which account do you want to do that? Do you want to do it in your savings account or do you want to do it in your checking account? And then you'll have to say, how much do you want to deposit or withdraw? And then it will subtract that or add that to your balance, depending on what you're doing. So what this is going to take is some looping. It's going to take some if, else kind of structures. You're going to have to think about user input and converting that to a number. And if you want to be really thorough on this, I won't hold you to this, but if you want to be more thorough, you also want to make sure that when the user inputs a number, that it's a valid number before you do something with it, because you don't want them to be able to create an error by putting in something that's not numeric. Okay, so these are all things to think about. Okay, so here's some constraints, and these are available in Canvas too. But we need to make sure that the balance can't go below zero, right? Because if you have $20 in the bank, you can't walk up to your ATM and withdraw $6,000. It's going to be like, nice try. So you have to make sure that whatever number the user wants to withdraw, when they do a withdrawal, that number that they enter is less than what they have in the bank. Otherwise, it should tell them no. You want to use string RJust as needed to make the numbers line up properly. Now, I think I've demonstrated this for you a couple of times, how this works, but I'm going to show you again. I want you to put some work into making the user interface look good. Like, make it look nice. And then after each transaction, I want you to ask the user if they want another transaction. If they do want another transaction, it should loop back to the top. There's a hint. It should loop back to the top and do that whole process again. You need to make sure that your program keeps track of the amount in each account. You need to have two accounts, a savings and a checking. And you'll start each account with some money. Okay, if you're a visual person, this structure might help you think about it. So you can have a main loop. I would suggest a while true loop here, and you can use break when you're ready to exit that loop. So you're going to have them choose a transaction type, deposit or withdrawal, and then they'll choose checking or savings, and once they choose that, they'll enter the amount, and it will do the calculation, and then it should finish and ask them if they want another transaction. If they say yes, then it should loop back to the top and start over at the beginning. Say, what transaction type do you want? Which account do you want? And so on. If they say no, that's when you're going to use break to break out of that loop and say, thank you for using, the Bank of Mosley or whatever, and move on. So how do we even start with this?